Hey, you caught me again. It's Reverend Mark Hughes. I'm the Executive Director of the Vermont Racial Justice Alliance, and this is Juxtaposition. We're back. It is the second Wednesday of the month again, and it's 5:25, and we're live. Let's get after it. Hey, check this out. We're here to talk about First African Landing Day today, but before I do that, I'm thinking about just how nuts things are in Washington, D.C. right now, and I just wanted to reflect on that and shout out to my people who are over there. And also just to, I don't know, I mean, it's just skullduggery, kind of, in a way. And it, of course, it's consistent because, of course, it's Chocolate City, but it's consistent with all of the other direct attacks on black folks, both here in the United States and globally. But hey, I know, what if we had some numbers that showed us exactly kind of like what the crime rate trends are? Hey, it just so happens that the control room has some numbers. Look at there. Hey, Kevin, thank you. Look at this. It looks like the violent crime rates with the FBI and the Bureau of Justice and Statistics have been falling precipitously since 1993. I mean, there's been some bumps along the road, but long story short, thank you for that slide. Long story short is there is no emergency. Things are not worse. We're not, the sky is not falling. Everything is not on fire. What's going on here is madness. So this has nothing to do with the crime rate. And you know what, Martha, who's looking out your back window at Jamel bouncing his basketball behind your house because you ain't never seen him before. I'm sorry you don't feel safe, but you know what, honey? There is no problem out there, okay? This is just nonsense. So I just needed to get that off my chest. Thank you for that. Vermont, the commemoration on, yes, First African Landing Day. I wanted to spend some time with you today and just talk about that. Here's the deal. Somebody came up to me yesterday and said, hey, First African Landing Day, that's cool. When do you do that? And I looked at him and said, well, the governor proclaimed in 2019 that the fourth Saturday of every August is First African Landing Day. In fact, what he said is that, quote, First African Landing Day shall be henceforth recognized and commemorated as First African Landing Day in Vermont, the fourth Saturday of August. So we did it in 2019, we did it in 2020, we did it in 2021, 2022, 2023, 2024, all on the fourth Saturday of August. Folks, the 23rd is the fourth Saturday of August. We're doing it again. So please, when you see me, anybody who sees me, don't ask me when First African Landing Day is anymore. If you're not interested, just don't come. So, yeah, those who are coming, though, here's the thing. Experience and speakers, music performances, dancing, spoken word, exhibits, drumming, soul food. We're trying to get some double Dutch throwers and some, I know that there's at least a couple bouncy houses coming in, some yard games. We've got some folks working on all of this stuff. And I do believe that a brother said he was putting together some 3-on-3 basketball as well. So it's going down. Youth hangout area, more and more and more. Here's what's going on at the Richard Kemp Center. First of all, the 1619 traveling exhibit is going to be there in the Richard Kemp Center. In fact, the 1619 traveling exhibit was posted up in the Richard Kemp Center on the 1st of August. And it has been there ever since, as per the press release towards the end of July that went out. And it has been on display for folks to come in publicly and check it out from 10 a.m. till 4 p.m. daily. And it's like crickets in there. So you are welcome. you're definitely welcome to come out to check out the 1619 traveling exhibit. Anyway, back to First African Landing Day. It will be there. The Diaspora Series, which is a permanent fixture in the center. There's a bunch of Adinkra symbols in there that are representative of each one of the paintings that were done by the illustrious, industrious Grace Longmore. They're still posted up. Also the Black Legacy Wall is there, and I believe we're going to have a wellness hangout in there. So those are some of the things that are happening. But check this out. Join in with us, and you'll also be able to come and hang out with our friends at Juniper Creative as we build a mural. I don't know how many people have driven through. This is Route 7, so come on. You've come through here. Everybody comes through here. You're going to Winooski. You're coming out of Rutland. You're coming up into the city, and you get to where Route 7 comes to a stop, and you're sitting there on the corner of Riverside, and you look to the left, and what do you see? A disaster, because what you see there is you see graffiti. Some of it is kind of tasteful, actually, but it's just so hodgepodgey, and some of it is frankly very hateful. Has been on the side of that building for a while, and we've decided not to cover it up because we knew if we did, they would just go back after it. But we're going to put something really decent and respectful that is representative of what it is that we're doing here at the Richard Kim Center. So that's going to be there. That's the east side of the building on Hyde Street. Come on down. You can be a part of that. They're going to officially unveil that during the block party, which I do believe is going to be the 11th of October there. So the theme this year for First African Landing Day is Stand. It's inspired, that's S-T-A-N-D, Stand. It's inspired by, an Ndinkra symbol called Wawa Aba, which means the seed of a wawa tree. This seed is reputed for its hardness. That's the Waba Aba, it alludes to strength and hardness and endurance. So this year, the theme is really speaking to just a remarkable strength possessed by our ancestors, and also to them who stood against slavery, who have stood against convict leasing and segregation and lynching and Jim Crow and all of the nonsense. Yet, somehow or another, slavery and its legacy, they continue to persist. So the fight is still on for the rights of a few here in the nation, and as that fight goes on, it's really to protect the democracy for all of us. So, having done all we can do to stand, again, the theme: we continue to stand. The civil rights that our ancestors bled and died for, actually, they're no longer being enforced. And this is a difficult conversation. But the truth is that the tools that we use to address disparate impact, they're being suppressed now. And that's what's going on. So we hear a lot, and it's really, really frustrating and confusing, and to some just maddening, how there's so little to say about what matters so much, but there's so much to say that folks are talking about that matters so little. In this nation, civil rights matter because this wasn't really a democracy until we had them. And the truth is that civil rights unenforced are not civil rights at all. So as the winds of mean-spirited policy violence, as they blow, and as we're taking a look at what it is that's going on around us, we know that we're built for a time such as this. So First African Landing Day, we're embracing these difficult challenges ahead, and we understand that there has never, ever been a civil right won in this country that we didn't have to fight for. There has never been a civil right won in this country that we didn't have to fight for. There is a remnant that's still prepared to stand. So come and stand with us here, First African Landing Day. Again, the First African Landing Day, for those who don't know, it was established on August 24th, August 24th, 2019, by the inspiration of the, get this, 400-year African American History Commission. At the time, that commission has since been retired. It was acknowledged in Congress, and this is when, during the time it was 2018, so we did have, the current president was the president at that time, but it was established in Congress and passed by resolution that the 400-year African American Commission would be established because we saw ourselves sneaking up on that 400-year mark from 1619. So they did some good work. That was to establish and recognize and highlight the resilience and the contributions of African Americans since 1619, to acknowledge the impact that slavery and the laws that enforce racial discrimination have had and continue to have on the United States, and also to educate the public about the arrival of Africans in the United States. So again, on August 24th, 2019, the governor of the state of Vermont did proclaim that the fourth Saturday of August shall be henceforth recognized and commemorated as First African Landing Day. So that's what we're doing. More on First African Landing Day. You can find, I'm gonna give you some more as the program goes on, but we're here to just acknowledge and recognize what's coming up. That's going to be on the 23rd. It's going to be on the 23rd. The 23rd, that is First African Landing Day. First African Landing Day. I wanted to direct your attention and just remind you about the work that we're doing here. I was talking to some folks from over at 50501 today, just looking for some synchronization and trying to figure out, what, if anything, we could do to get together. And what we'll talk about in a little bit is what some of the demands are of one of the movements that we're involved in, and just to try to get some synchronization and get some things moving in the right direction with the work that they're doing. And what I did was I showed them this slide. One of the things that is very important to understand is we're still talking about systemic racism, folks. And this is pretty much at the heart of what this administration has been fighting and pushing back against. And so what that means is we just want to try a little harder. So the unjustly gained political economic power of whites, and also the continuing economic and other resource inequalities along racial lines. And important, very, very important is there is an emotion-laden racist framing created by whites to maintain and rationalize their privilege and power. And if you can contextualize that and think about what we're looking at in America today, then shake it up and add some attitude. And what you have is what we're dealing with right now. So again, this is the strategy. What we've been doing all of the time is how do we mitigate it? Because we know we can't beat it because it was baked into what it is that we're doing. How do we mitigate it? And as we do so, in our mitigation strategies, we figured out that definitely, data, outreach and education, policy, community engagement support, and cultural empowerment. Those are the tools that we've been using all of the time to combat this, and we're going to continue to do that. So here's a great graphic for you. So I was pretty excited so we're gonna want to continue talking about First African Landing Day. First African Landing Day. Again, we're here, Mark Hughes. This is a discussion, issues affecting black folks affecting change, juxtaposition. This is where we're at. Want to just share with you a little bit more about First African Landing Day. Here's another one, and there's a QR code on this one here, and I want you to pay particular attention to that one. Who knows where it takes you? Let me just grab my phone and see if I can scan it and see where it takes us. This is like, hopefully it. Oh, looky there. It actually takes you to the place, Eventbrite, for ticketing. So I did notice, just as it's deafeningly quiet about the fight for systemic racism and also the promotion and even the financial support, that is to say sponsors, it's been hard scaring you guys up this year. Wow, what's going on? What's going on out there, y'all? Why is it so hard to scare y'all up to get you to support First African Landing Day this year? So I know a lot of people have their heads down, and that's good. We'd like to put our heads down too, but we don't have that privilege. We don't have that luxury. And at the end of the day, there are some of us who when we do nothing, we benefit. That's the definition of systemic racism. So I'm not trying to shame you, but I am trying to wake you up. Right now, if there was a time to get to work, let's go. Now's that time. So the registration is also low out there on the site. I looked at the registration. I was surprised it was probably down like a third or 2/3, if I'm not mistaken. I haven't looked at it in a few days, but I was very surprised. So yeah, what's going on? Come on, y'all. Let's do this. We got you. We can do this. We can definitely do this together. I think we're going to take a commercial break now. Just take a look at. I want to tell you a little bit about Truth and Justice series. Fourth Tuesday, that's the week after next, I believe, fourth Tuesday. We're always doing this thing, the Truth and Justice series, a year-long journey that explores the profound importance of truth in confronting our shared history, including the enduring legacy of slavery. Get that? And the systemic injustices. Yeah, this all goes together, y'all. And the urgency of creating justice where it has been absent. The series challenges participants to act boldly in their pursuit of truth and to commit to implementing justice as a practice and a principle in their lives and in their communities. So we'd love to see you. Come on out. That's the fourth Tuesday. It's in the South Burlington Library. That's in the South Burlington Library. Do come out and check it out. We got some interesting characters that show up, and there's some great conversations that we have. Do come out. Do come out. I want to talk a little bit about civil rights because, as I said at the top of the hour, and this is not hyperbole, and this is not a metaphor. What we're experiencing right now is with the impact. In fact, the decommissioning and the gutting, if you will, and the repurposing of the Department of Justice, the Civil Rights Division, and all other civil rights divisions has upended democracy in the United States. That's right. That's what's going on right now. It's quiet. It's really quiet though. So quiet. I'm looking for my allies right now. It's really quiet. But here's the thing: is without civil rights, there is no true democracy. So you would think that we probably would need to do something in a hurry. So the federal government has essentially abdicated its responsibilities to ensure that civil rights are realized and appreciated by folks who are underserved. Okay, and they've done it at the expense of, at the cost of democracy. And I think this is what we've been talking about leading up until this moment. We've been talking about the fact that when they come after civil rights, at the end of the day, it doesn't stop at black folks, because the scaffolding for the civil rights for everybody in this country was built upon the civil rights of black folks, which is rooted in the Equal Protection Clause of the 14th Amendment. And when that collapses, there is no democracy. So that's where we are right now. What we have, this constitutes a major crisis situation. That this raises to a level of a statewide emergency. That's where we are right now. But as I look around, I don't really see anybody who, like, we have 6 elected officials at the statewide level. We have 180 legislators that are elected, and we have a lot of appointed officials and so forth. It doesn't seem like it's a statewide emergency. Now, the President of the United States declared emergency. That's what gave him the power to do all of the things that he's doing. But it doesn't seem as though anybody here in the state of Vermont is acting in a way that this seems to be an emergency. So we're calling on in this movement, this Raise Up Justice movement, what we're doing is we're hoping that we can get the elected and appointed officials to act with a sense of urgency. You would think that that nobody would have to ask you to act with a sense of emergency in the absence of the democracy that everybody that I'm talking about took a sworn oath to protect. But that's not what we're here to talk about. What we're talking about is the urgency to ensure that the people of Vermont are protected. And it's not just us as black folks, because some would say, oh, well, it's not that many of them here. I've heard this before. But here's the thing is the civil rights of every other protected category is hanging in the balance right now. So yes, the disabilities community, yes, the LGBTQIA community. So right now they're talking about, walking back, the Supreme Court is talking about walking back gay marriages and so forth. So we're calling on in this movement, we're calling on the governor. And take a look at this slide just for a minute as I'm talking, because this is Raise Up Justice is this is a multiracial, a gender neutral, intergenerational, interfaith, multi-able, politically non-affiliated fusion moral movement. So we're talking about being grounded in the golden rule in civil rights and equal protection, and being human rights oriented and nonviolence based. This is building a beloved community. So what we're doing is what this movement is doing is in demands, calling on the governor to do the work of the people. And to counter the impact of the decommissioning, the gutting, and the political repurposing of the Department of Justice and the other divisions, the other civil rights divisions. And what this means is that there needs to be some action taken. So what is this action? Well, I'm glad you asked, because there are some things that we can actually talk about. One of the demands that this Raise Up is talking about is Mr. Governor, can you just go ahead and call that emergency? Because we know that you're going to have some additional executive powers, and you're going to have some in order to implement some of these things that you need to get done. Here's another thing, Mr. Governor, is that why don't you call the legislature back to session? Why don't you call this again? These are the demands of the Raise Up Justice movement. They're calling for a declaration of the state emergency, and they're also calling that the legislature be called back into session for civil rights and disparate impact work specifically. Because as it stands right now, nobody can call the legislature back into session but the governor. And the legislature cannot do any legislative work unless they're in session. And we're in the middle of a state emergency, because we're in the middle of a national emergency, because we no longer have a democracy, because we no longer have civil rights. So they're calling for the governor. Makes sense so far to me. Does it make sense to you? So they're also calling for the governor to issue a few executive orders. One executive order is that the military equipment transfers to the Vermont State Police be prohibited. Again, the military equipment transfers that are being called for in Executive Order 14288 be terminated, that they be prohibited. That's what the Raise Up Justice campaign is calling for. The other thing is that police communications protocols with Homeland Security Task Force, that there be transparency in that. That's the next one. And then the third one is a whole of government programmatic approach on racial justice. So those are it looks like we're running out of time. Look at there. You thought we was just going to be talking about First African Landing Day today, didn't you? Let's get the rest of those demands and we'll close out. Here's the legislative demand sheet. The legislative demand sheet is civil rights enforcement. You got to get back in session first, though. So that takes the governor. But what we're doing now is we're talking about what you need to do once you get back in session. But or let me just put it the other way around. The other way around is these are the reasons why the governor should call you back into session. Okay? Civil rights enforcement, statewide, state level consent decrees, disparate impact laws. But then we also have H451, an economic justice policy, a health equity policy, which is S2. There's a justice data transparency policy, H382. And now when I say these letters and numbers, what this means is that the policies are already in the committees, hanging on the walls right now. The legislature can't do anything with them because they're not in session. H184, divestment, reinvestment in community-based self-advocacy policy. H59, Burlington Police Oversight. H361, Civilian Oversight of Law Enforcement Policy. H38, Human Rights Commission Policy. PR4, an Equal Protection Constitutional Amendment. That seems pretty appropriate. H499, Reparations Task Force, and H357, Independence of Office of Racial Equity Policy. Again, all of these policies are already in committee. So these are some of the things that we're asking the legislature to do when they come back into session, if they come back into session, because they can't do anything unless the governor calls them back into session. Last slide for you is ongoing happenings. We just want to make you aware of some of the things that are happening around here. Black Madness is on the first Thursday. Keep it in mind, that's one of those peer support groups. Race, Identity, Culture, and History, third Wednesday. That's the Rich program. I wanted you to know about that as well. That's all we got for tonight. Thank you for coming. Black people, these are issues affecting black people affecting change. First African Landing Day. Make sure you are there. Last slide, take a look at that. Scan that, get your tickets right now. Scan that, get your tickets. We're going to have a good time over there. It is a commemoration, not a celebration. Thank you, Control Room. Thank you all. See you next time.
My people with me, together we are going to a brand new home, far across the river. Can you hear freedom calling, calling me to answer? Gonna keep on keeping on. I can feel it.